Yo, what's good, family? Shout out to my doggy Trojan Carts for supporting the membership channel, no doubt. So, your man's Anthony Mandela Gandhi Johnston has recently put out, in the last 24 hours, he posted up a text-based interview hit piece with some next newspaper. So I'm going to give you some other quotes that I found interesting. He said the following: I'm not happy about what happened previously, losing to Alexander Usyk, because that's a competitor's mindset. He goes on, you have to be angry at losing. It's not acceptable. So now it's about driving forward. That's why I love the Under Armour campaign quote. The only way is through. We watch the highlights and it's good to show a lot of the wins, but I sometimes wonder why we don't put losses in the highlights reel, because it's what shapes me, and losing keeps me motivated because I don't want it to happen again. So there's the first quote from Johnston. Now, taking it from the top, this guy, I mean, part of me, well, the first thing that comes to mind, like I said at the start of the video, he's talking about, oh, that's why I love the Under Armour campaign. Now, if you read the full article, this for me, I think, is an Under Armour hit piece, truth be known. Yeah, I hate to break it to you, but about 10 times through this interview, he's always talking about Under Armour. So I believe this has been a paid, kind of sponsored ad, bottom line, which sums up Johnston, to be quite frank, at this particular point in time. Everything he seems to do is some sort of brand deal. He ain't got no genuineness in him. Yeah? Took a brand deal to get some smokiness out of him. Well, Under Armour are paying me to say this, so I better say something somewhat half ferocious. That's what I think this was. You have to be angry at losing. It's not acceptable. I mean, that bar there, where did AJ get that from? Me, in the last week. I don't care what no one says. Not one person on his team has told him losing is not acceptable, apart from me in the last... That's the facts, people. Yeah? Because what we know is, when Johnston was in the ring, did you hear any of them man saying this performance is unacceptable? No. We heard, wow, AJ, you're getting dog walked. It's brilliant. I love watching you get dog walked. Yeah? I was the one who, for the last X amount of time, been telling him, your current attitude is funny style, number one, and number two, it's whatever way you want to call it, it's unacceptable. Bottom line. So that's the thing. Why I don't get why he's playing these games for. Yeah? What you need to do is give references. Say, listen, the YB told me it's unacceptable to be loving losing so much. That's what you need to do. But I've finally listened to the YB enough now, and now I know that it's losing unacceptable. Do you know what I'm saying? Next thing, anyway, he talking about the only way is through, and it's the thing. I always get the feeling he's trying to come from some philosophical way. Oh, sometimes I watch highlight videos and I wonder why losses aren't in there, because them losses shape me. Listen, boss man. Listen, Johnston. I've told you before. You're not some deep thinker. Don't worry about why things are the way they are. Worry about putting your elbows in nice and tight, yeah? Getting your chin down, holding your hands up and marching through the fire. That's what you want to be concerned about. Not contemplating the universe. Well, sometimes I sit there in bed and I can't fathom why people don't use losses in... It's this guy, man. Zest Johnston. Yeah? You concerning yourself with things that have nothing to do with what you need to be concerned about. And it shows that you ain't focused, because you're still doing what you... Listen, Johnston is doing what he's always done. Woofing. Yeah? Speaking way too much about... Just woof. Just chatting for the sake of chatting. Oh, well, I've got an interesting take about the pyramids, and I mean about the triangles, and I'm into real estate, and sometimes you gotta buy low, and other times you gotta sell high, and it's all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Trying to be deep. Don't worry about it being deep. Worry about being hard. That's what you want to worry about. That's what I don't get. Sometimes I get the feeling AJ is going for a Nobel Peace Prize and not the heavyweight championship of the world. Yeah? The things you spend time worrying about and contemplating. Oh well, sometimes I think, why why is the institution of video making not including losses in the highlight videos, because I think that's a key part of what makes me this guy. Yeah, what you want to make a key part of you is being tough about videos, about highlight reels. I don't know, man. This for me, yeah, this guy is too zesty. That's the bottom line, folks. Really, and I get it that, well, YB, he had to say something in an interview. Listen, I told you before, if I was in the camp here, the only narrative you'd be hearing is, I'll tell everyone, I'll tell Johnston himself, listen, from now on, every interview, whatever the question the interviewer asks you, you say, listen, I don't know about whatever you're talking about, woofer, yeah? That's what I tell him, listen, every question you get asked by the media, you're going to tell him, listen, your question's dead. The bottom line is, Usyk, he getting it. Yeah? Whatever boring ass question you got, I ain't interested. I'm here to tell you, man, what time it is. And he's getting it. Proper. Yeah? I'm hitting it from the back. That's what's gonna happen. And that's it. Yeah? No contemplating deep philosophy and no going for a Nobel Prize. Just straight on this thing. That's what you want to be doing now. And I can tell, like I've been saying for the last X amount of time, you ain't concentrated and you ain't serious. Because you're too much woof still. And it's not good woof either. You're just talking for the sake of talking. Trying to be deep still. You ain't learnt your lesson. You ain't deep, that's the first thing. And number two, you ain't in the industry of being deep. You're in the industry of being hard. Focus on being hard. And I've been saying this for a long time because for people Johnston fans have been telling me, I've been saying, I don't get why he has to do all this extra stuff for. And Johnston fans always told me, well, YB, he's different to you. Yeah, AJ's special, he can do it all. He can be super duper soft and super duper philosophical, and he can be his free YB. You're in the basement, but YB, AJ's a multi-millionaire with 3 belts, and now he got no belts, and whatever else. Yeah? So I hate to break it to you, all that stuff you was talking about, how great it don't work. In the long run, it don't work. You can't maintain being a heavyweight champion, despite the era being super weak as well. It just shows you how important things are. Because even in a really weak era, yeah, AJ still couldn't maintain. Just with the softness, with the zest. The zest always wins. That's why you got to cut it out like a cancer. You can't be zesty whatsoever. You need to keep your mind sharp and ferocious. And if you can't do that, yeah, if you want to be worrying about philosophy and doing a whole bunch of extra shit, tell you what to do, retire. Yeah? Because you're too zesty. Anyway, he also put another quote out. I mean, just quickly, before I go on to the other quote, let me give you the example of where I told you about the hit piece. He says, look, it's always good to look back at reasons why relationships began, or why you committed something, or took a job. Look. Under Armour stood out, especially because of athlete development, and boxing is a sleeping giant. This guy, man, I told you, this was a massive hit piece. Yeah, 100%. This interview was a raging hit piece for Johnston and Under Armour. It's embarrassing, but this shows you that it's all choreographed, isn't it? It's like AJ's training. Not only is Fernando Alonso training AJ to be nice and choreographed, also outside of the ring, so all of his, I reckon AJ's got a script writer, you know. I think it's all scripted out. I'm not even sure he said these words, to be honest. Especially next bit. Anyway, check this out. AJ allegedly also said this. One thing people know about me is that I bounce back, and I don't take losses. I fight the best consistently. That's always been part of my DNA. I've come up short twice, but the majority of times I have overcome many obstacles. Next fight, I'm going to beat him, and I'm going to make him take those belts from him. I'm going to take those belts from him. And I'm going to reign again to become 3-time heavyweight champion of the world, whether people like it or not. So, again, if this wasn't in the context of a hit piece article, which probably wasn't written from him, I'm not going to lie, that there is kind of the same energy, or the right energy I've been talking about. But like I said, look where it comes. This comes in a script written by someone else, in my opinion. You man, tell me what you think. Do you think it's a coincidence? The first non-AJ real interview, all of a sudden he got all the smoke. I don't know. I just don't believe it myself. I don't believe that we go from Zest in person to you know what I'm saying? Oh, don't tell me. It's a coincidence that AJ been super zesty, but then you want me to believe this text interview is real. Again, I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah, but I don't take losses. And I mean, going back to the other one earlier, where he said, "Oh, I forgot to mention." He goes, losing keeps me motivated because I don't want it to happen again." Listen, that's the problem with rematch clauses as well, isn't it? About losing keeps me motivated. And I said, I've been saying this for a long time. Why does Johnston have to lose to be motivated? Frank Warren said something similar. Why can't you get motivated to win? You're supposed to be a winner. You're not supposed to be a rematcher. Oh, well, I like to lose. It keeps me motivated. What? It's weird. It's a weird mentality. Again, this shows you what's not going on correctly in the camp. You shouldn't be motivated to lose so you can get some motivation. It's super weird. You should be motivated to deliver on the $30 million you're being paid. Or better yet, even if it's not about the money, which it should be, but even if it's not, what about your own pride? What about your own ego? What about not getting dog walked by a cruiserweight? It's weird. It's like there's no substance to the guy. Got no shame. Do you understand? Anyway, going back to the latest article where he talks about, one thing people know about me is that I bounce back and I don't take losses. Well, you do take losses. So that's a lie. You do take losses. Oh, and that's another thing. AJ fans recently always go back to, well, he always fights the best. No, you always lose to the best, I'm afraid to say, boss man. That's the facts, people. You don't always fight the best. Or sorry, you may always fight the best, but what we do know is listen, you love to lose to the best. Yeah, that's your favourite thing to do. Oh, I wonder what day is it? Oh, it's fight day. I best lose to the best today. That's right, 100%. That's what Johnston wakes up and thinks about. Oh, yeah, it's fight day today. I best lose. Oh, wait a minute. Who am I fighting? I'm fighting someone decent. I best lose. 100%. Yeah. When AJ goes in there with someone half decent, Klitschko, Usyk, Ruiz, he lose. And you've heard him tell you there that, oh, I like losing because it gets me motivated. But listen, we're going to find out how motivated he is, because it was easy to be motivated against Mr. Blobby, who can't move and who wasn't training. Yeah, and even then, like I said, I'm sceptical of how motivated you were. Because we saw Lennox Lewis. When Lennox Lewis lost, yeah, that guy was motivated. That guy, you could tell he had a bitter taste in his mouth. And he wanted not only to win, Lennox Lewis wasn't only motivated. He wanted something more than motivation. He wanted to stretch that back out for him. And he did. Twice. He got real revenge. You talk about, I like losing because I get motivated. No, you don't. You got whooped by Ruiz in devastating fashion. He popped your cherry for you. Facts. Ruiz was the first man to stop Johnston. He popped your cherry. And what did you do? You went in there and shat your pants. You weren't motivated to do nothing. You were scared of your shadow is what you was. And this tells me that you're delusional. Johnston is delusional. He doesn't have the right people around him to bring him back to earth. I'll be telling him, you don't love it. Because if you did love it, you'd have gone in there and you'd have said, listen, I'd rather lose, and I've been saying this, throughout the Ruiz rematch camp here, I said, if I was training Johnston, I'd rather train him to lose the rematch in a way where he went in there with bad intentions. Do you understand? I'd rather AJ have lost, going in there spiteful, going in there to punish Ruiz, than I would for him to have shat his pants, and you know what I mean, and shit himself for 12 rounds. That's just me personally. At least AJ, could sleep well at night knowing, well, you know what, I got beat by the better man. I went in there my best self, I wanted it badly, and I got beat by the better man. Now, AJ lays in bed at night, and his legacy will reflect that he shit himself for 12 rounds, because he was scared. You know what I'm saying? That's what the legacy will say. The legacy won't say, well, he did his best, he got beat by the better man. His legacy will say, he found a way to cack his pants against Mr. Blobby. Yeah? That's what it is, people. I know you can be mad, but that's what it is. I'd love to tell you something different. I'd love to be there and make changes, but it's not the case. He's got Fernando Alonso, some zesty Don, instead. Anyway, before I go, let me check this part here. I'm going to beat Usyk. I'm going to take those belts from him. Like I said, that sounds like it's been written in a script. That sounds like, and even if AJ did say it, yeah, it sounds like something he says because he knows that's what he should say. Does he believe it? We don't know. Guess what? In the Ruiz rematch, he didn't believe it. Yeah? In the Ruiz rematch, he didn't believe it. Because to go in there and take the belts, that kind of attitude, yeah, that kind of revenge attitude, if AJ had that spiteful revenge attitude, he would have displayed it in the Ruiz rematch, because he got popped by a big Mr. Blobby. Mr. Blobby stopped you. So if you had any spiteful or revengeful bones in your body, you'd have said, listen, I don't care about boxing tonight. Tonight is about taking revenge. Think about it, innit? That makes logical sense. Now, Usyk didn't stop you, so it follows that if you can't get aggressive against Mr. Blobby, the jury's out on whether you're going to be able to get aggressive and take the belts back, and you know what I'm saying? And to be honest, even this language, he says, I'm going to beat him. Next fight with Usyk, I'm going to beat him, and I'm going to take those belts from him. What you notice about this language, actually, at first glance, it appears to be somewhat aggressive, but in reality, it's passive aggressive. Notice he doesn't say, next fight with Usyk, I'm going to spread his cheeks out. Yeah? Head down, arse up. He don't say that. He says, oh, I'm going to beat Usyk, meaning I'm going to get the win. I'm going to take those belts from him, meaning I'm going to get the win. Now again, at first glance it sounds aggressive, but all it is at best is passive aggressive. Oh, I'm going to beat him. No, what you mean to say is you're going to nick a win. And that's what I believe. My base case from the jump has been, I think AJ is going to go back to how he beat Ruiz the second time. Yeah, how he beat Ruiz. That's what I believe AJ's plan is. He's going to go in there and try and run for his life. Because that's what AJ's learnt. He's learnt that when I lose, I can run some more. And that's what I believe his base case is. Because, even look at the language here. He should be saying that. It should be clear. Him and his team, whoever they are, 3 or 4 months out, everyone should be clear. I'm going in there. Never mind. And that's the thing. He shouldn't be focusing on the result. I'm taking the belts back. He should be focusing on, in my opinion, he should be focusing on the process. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to bang away. And if Usyk can take the banging away, and if Usyk can find a way to take my banging, he may win. I'm not going to lie to you. AJ right now, in my opinion, should be saying, I'm not sure who's going to win. All I know is, I'm going to bang away. Yeah? I'm going to bang away until I can't bang away no more. If he can take it, or if he can do some magical things and survive, so be it, I'll lose. But what we know is, all AJ can do here is control his own actions. That's all he should be focusing on. Don't worry about winning. Because listen, when you worried about winning, when all you focused on was nicking the belts back and shitting your pants against Ruiz, that's all you did. And it shows in the Ruiz rematch. All AJ did, he didn't focus on the process. He focused on shitting his pants and nicking the belts. Just like Fury nicked the belts against Vlad. Yeah, AJ nicked the belts off Ruiz. That's a fact. He did nothing else but win, literally. That was what you call a bare bones win. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't want a bare bones win. And that's the thing. The good news is for us is the fact that Usyk ain't no Ruiz. Usyk ain't Mr. Blobby. Usyk ain't stuck in the mud. So if AJ does think he's going to go in there and run for his life, he's going to come a cropper. And rightfully so. But still, that doesn't help us in as much as I want to see AJ succeed. I'm just not sure. I'm just not convinced. Either way we look at it, this has either been written as a script, or either way, even as a script, it ain't convincing, is it? Not from my point of view, anyway. Because winning, this ain't about winning. This is about pride, ego, legacy. Yeah, the reason Lennox Lewis is considered a great is because how he got his get back. Yeah, if Lennox Lewis had gone in there against the people who beat him and shit his pants for 12 rounds, part of the reason Lennox is almost considered undefeated is the fact that he beat his opponents better than he got beat. Do you understand? So it almost takes out them losses. AJ, you can't say that. He did not beat Ruiz better than he got beat, which leaves a massive asterisk. We don't know AJ is the best man in the world because we don't even know he's better than Ruiz, do we? Let's be real now. Do we know AJ is better than Ruiz? We don't. Now, we know AJ can run from Ruiz. That's not the same. We can't say AJ is a better fighter than Ruiz. All we can say is AJ is a better runner. And unfortunately, in terms of being all-time great, you can't be an all-time great by running from problems. Not in this sport. This isn't running. This is boxing, fighting. Yeah? And that's why look at Floyd. That's why Floyd's legacy is questionable. Because all he ended up doing was running. Yeah? And that's why most people at best consider Floyd the best defensive boxer. No one says he's the best boxer of all time. They say he's the best defensive, which is not the same. And the thing is, Floyd had excuses. He had weak hands. He wasn't particularly explosive. AJ hasn't got them excuses. He's super explosive and not got brittle hands. So what's your excuse?